Compared to menstrual cups, menstrual discs are probably the easier internal protection. However, there are some cases where it's not going to work for you, and we're going to talk about that in today's quick video. Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kim Rosas and I'm a reusable period products expert. Period Nirvana is here to help you find the right menstrual cup or disc for you and also help you succeed with our many resources like our quiz, our charts, and our videos. Make sure you check out the quiz to find which cup or disc is most likely to fit you, and then go to Period.Shop where we have an amazing curated selection of the top quality menstrual cups, discs, period underwear, cloth pads, you name it, we've got it in the reusable period care space. In today's quick video, I want to talk about when menstrual discs might not work. Menstrual discs have a higher likelihood of fitting more people. This is because we're mostly one size fits most in our vaginal fornix area. That said, there are definitely some anatomies that are not suited to menstrual discs and may be more suited to menstrual cups or external protection. It is still hard to know before you buy a disc if you're in one of these categories we're about to discuss, but if you've tried a menstrual disc and you've been completely frustrated by either slippage or leaks, this might be why. First, let's do a quick menstrual disc 101. If you're new here, this is how they work. You fold them long ways to insert, and then you push inside, aim it towards the back wall, and then you tuck it into place behind the pubic bone, and it kind of nestles intuitively into place in this vaginal fornix area. And if all goes well, it's tucked behind your cervix so that everything that comes out, your period blood, gets caught inside the disc. To remove, in this instance, we have a hello disc, so it's very easy. You just pull the loop. Don't take your cervix with you. This is a model that moves, and then dump. Speaking of your cervix, there is one instance where the menstrual disc is unlikely to work for you, and that is if you have a retroflexed uterus and the cervix is backwards facing and it faces way back on the vaginal wall, like it's pushed up against the back vaginal wall. Now, anatomically speaking, it's going to be really, really hard for you to use a menstrual disc because when you insert the disc, it might not be able to tuck and it's just butting up against the cervix. And of course, that's going to cause some major leaks. One way you can try to counteract this, if you suspect that this is happening to you, especially if you're just having profuse leaks as if you don't have a disc in, is you can try to scoop as you insert. So you kind of point downwards, and I don't really have a good model to show this like in action because your body moves and my models don't really move, but you basically point downward and up and try to scoop so that the menstrual disc goes around and behind the cervix. The other option is the upside down trick. And I've tried this and I haven't personally had success with it, but I don't need this particular method to get it scooped under my cervix. I have heard from a lot of different commenters and people who've emailed to say this trick really helped them because they suspect they have that backward facing cervix and this is the only way they can get it in. So you insert the disc upside down and backwards. So the part that usually goes in last is going in first and upside down. So you insert, you still fold it, you insert, and once it's in, you take a finger and you do it like this. You push the front rim, which is now going inside and flipping upside down, hopefully getting underneath that cervix where it needs to be. The next issue that you could possibly be having with your disc not fitting and slipping out of place and leaking constantly is a pubic bone issue. The pubic bone, which is right here, is what holds your menstrual disc in place. It's like a shelf. If your pubic bone, aka your shelf, is very narrow instead of deep, it might be possible for that disc to slip more easily out of place once you've put it in. This one's hard to diagnose because it often looks like a size issue as well. If you're having issues with the disc slipping out of place, a lot of times, especially if you ask me, I'll ask, what size disc are you using? Could it be that it's too big and it's springing out of place, or could it be that it's too small and it's just slipping out of place? Now, size issues can definitely happen, so that's one thing to consider, but the other option to consider is that maybe your pubic bone is just not deep enough to use a disc. One thing you can do is insert a finger into your own body and push up against the front wall and feel for that pubic bone. And for me, I could definitely feel a very pronounced notch. And that's where my disc sits and why discs work so well for me. If you have just a tiny little bump, imagine that the disc might be slipping past that bump way more easily compared to, if you had a deeper notch. So a menstrual cup in this situation might be better for you because it's not reliant on that pubic bone. It is being held in place by the muscle tone as well as the suction. The first two options we discussed are really hard to know before you purchase a disc or try a disc. Usually you find out through troubleshooting and experiencing the disc that this is your problem. Now, the next one, you are going to know if you have this, and so this is something to know ahead of time before you purchase a disc if it's likely to work for you or not. This is an average presentation of a cervix and an average cervix height, or even kind of a high cervix height. If you have a severe uterine prolapse where your uterus is almost at the vaginal opening or even out of the vaginal opening, there's just no space for a menstrual cup or a menstrual disc to sit. You need the disc to tuck behind this pubic bone, but there's no runway here for the disc to tuck. Now, if you have a low cervix, discs are a great option. And in fact, they're one of your only options because they're flat and they're fit and they can fit into a smaller space more comfortably. So that works if you have a low cervix. But if your cervix is so low that the disc can't tuck behind the pubic bone, it's simply not going to work. And neither is a menstrual cup. So in this case, unfortunately, if you were looking for a cup or disc, you're more likely to have success with just period underwear or cloth pads in the reusable space or disposable pads. I know that's not always the answer people want to hear, and they want to make a cup or disc work for them or find something that's just going to work with their, more severe prolapse. I would suggest looking into pelvic floor therapy because you can work with a pelvic floor therapist to lift the uterus, and that will give you more space to possibly eventually work your way up to using maybe a smaller diameter menstrual disc for a lower cervix or a small low cervix menstrual cup. I hope this quick video helped. There's just so much to talk about in this topic. It started as a short, and I just really wanted to expand on this on YouTube as a resource for people because they have questions about this all the time. Make sure you take the quiz on Period Nirvana if you need more guidance on which cup or disc is most likely to work for you. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that for notifications about new content. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.